We've been competing with the minicab industry, the private car industry in London for 50, 60 years now. Uber is not big news. It's certainly not big news in London. Travis is not telling you that he's projected 30% of the private hire market that he anticipated having by December hasn't happened. He's got probably 6%. Uber's operation has been banned in many cities in Europe. It's currently under review in London. We're hoping to get a High Court case running. Uber is not legal, their operation at the moment in London, we're convinced of that. And the 50,000 jobs he talks about are not real jobs, they're pretend jobs.
What would you say to those who say, the experience taking an Uber is a better experience than taking one of the London cabs, that, it's more efficient, it's also more cost effective? Well,
firstly, it's not cost effective because anybody who's ever used Uber will tell you that the moment it gets busy, they surge you with their surge pricing. So cost effectiveness is certainly not an argument to support Uber. The other point, all you need to do is just look on Twitter at the number of complaints from people trying to contact Uber, trying to make complaints. Some of the outrageous situations. Only last week there was an allegation of a serious sexual assault in an Uber car in London. We're getting these sorts of things all the time. Uber is not a safe platform in London. TfL shouldn't have licensed it, and they're reviewing it hopefully soon.
But if Uber continues to expand into Europe, gain traction, what are you going to do? What is the Taxi Association here in London going to do to fend off competition?
As you know, talking from the UK here, we tend to view the United Kingdom as different from the rest of Europe. I appreciate in the States we're viewed as Europe. Their expansion into Europe has failed miserably. As you know, they're banned in large parts of Spain. They've been banned in Berlin. The French have changed their legislation. They're shortly to be banned in Holland. Uber hasn't took off in Europe. It's certainly not taken off in London. We plan to tackle it in various ways. Firstly, we welcome Uber into the London market. We welcome them as competition.
Okay.
All we say is we want you to operate legally, lawfully, within the UK laws, and just like everybody else, just for a change, why not pay tax in the UK rather than domiciling themselves elsewhere in Europe to avoid paying UK corporation tax?
If Uber starts to significantly impact sales of some of the London, taxi or cabbies here, do you think there will be protests here in London?
No, we haven't.
Similar to what we saw in France.
We haven't got. We have had demonstrations in London, but they're not aimed at Uber. They were aimed at a licensing authority that refused to implement the existing laws. The problem that we've got is Uber have pitched up in the UK. What's the current valuation today? Is it 40 or 45 billion dollars?
40 billion, I think.
Is it 40 billion? A few months ago it was 18 billion. It's all paper money anyway, isn't it? But the reality is they've pitched up in London. They are spending untold sums, millions and millions of pounds on lobbyists, political lobbyists, on courting the media, trying to win the media's affection, rather unsuccessfully at the moment, it has to be said. They're not a realistic option in London. Taxi drivers in London, they do the knowledge, they drive a purpose-built disabled access vehicle, they know where they're going. Uber employ a lot of amateurs who want to be taxi drivers. They're wannabes in London, they're not competition.